Hello, everyone. Welcome to the It Doesn't Matter podcast. We've got myself, Stratfax, today, Cactus John, and we have...
The Dominican Dream, baby. This is Papi Plátano.
There he is. And we have...
I am the notorious one. I am Dom. Bang, bang.
He got us this week.
Yeah. You ain't get me.
This week we're highlighting a very special person in the world of professional wrestling. He goes by many names, but his real name allegedly is Mick Foley. There it is, the three faces of Foley: Cactus Jack, Dude Love, and Mankind. We're going to talk all about this dude right here. Dom, what do we got going on with Mick Foley?
Well, Mick Foley, the hardcore legend, had a birthday coming up, so we figured this episode would be all about him. So, guys, let's get right into it. What was your first memory of Mick Foley? We're going to start off with Papi Plátano.
Yeah, my first memory has to go with Mankind. I wasn't watching WCW back then, so Mankind was my guy. Yeah. It was a different character because I guess back in the day when he first started out, he came out with two different music. Like, he had an entrance music and a different type of music after the bell rang. I forget what it was. It was a little bit different, more darker, more kind of like... It was almost like Phantom of the Opera, almost.
I mean, interrupt you, but coming down to the ring, he had that like sadistic music, and then when the match is over, after he got his win, it'd be like that sweet, soft, mellow type symphony type of music.
Oh, I forget which one it was, but yeah, it was very different for a character of that kind, especially. I mean, it's not a masked character per se. It's kind of like if you watch that movie, it's like someone with an iron face. I believe Leonardo DiCaprio was in it.
Yes, the man with the iron mask.
That's what it reminded me of. Like, I saw the movie years later after it was released, and that's what it reminded me of. It was a different character that I've never seen before, and a little bit of that what's another movie the Hannibal Lecter movie, kind of like
Dragons.
that. Huh?
Say hello, Clarice.
It puts the lotion on.
0 stars. There were no lambs in this movie.
No.
Silence of the Lambs, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm bad with movie and names. Too many concussions.
Oh, no. It's not genetics, I would hope.
No.
So you was a big Mankind fan. Were you a fan of George the Rat?
Of course. If you got mesothelioma.
Shout out to Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah.
Something to Wrestle podcast. That was Jim Cornette's pet rat.
Oh, I never laughed so hard in my life.
Oh, man. See, John, at this time, he was a Dave Meltzer guy. So, he didn't listen to Bruce.
Damn it.
Stoic, strong, sexy.
Here we go.
What are we talking about?
I know where we're going.
George the Rat. Whoosh. Kind of like the haircut I had the other day. Whoosh. Thank you, Tammy from Great Clips, Groton.
Nice.
Did you walk over there?
I drove.
It doesn't matter if you walk over there or not. Let's get back to Mick Foley.
Do you have asthma?
No.
Oh, boy.
Take that big, deep breath. Bang, bang. So, hey, John, what was your first memory of Mankind? Same as Papi Plátano's. The first time I came across this dapper gentleman was the night after WrestleMania 12 when he debuted on Monday Night Raw. And he, I believe he might have opened the show or not. But they had a bunch of vignettes before WrestleMania, and I didn't understand it. I didn't get it, but it was just some weird dude talking and shrieking all over the place. And of course, he would make his debut on the Raw after WrestleMania 12 in a match against Bob Sparkplug Holly. He would not be a favorite of the It Doesn't Matter podcast because he's not hardcore yet, but he did this weird maneuver, eventually known to be the Mandible Claw, where Bob Holly was Fleming and flawing is really gross, and I hated it. And then you think that would be it. However, the main event of that episode of Monday Night Raw was The Undertaker taking on the wrestling god, Justin Hawk Bradshaw. But Mankind would attack The Undertaker after the match and also do the same thing. Choke him out with the mandible claw and make him gag, and that's how they close the show. Quite a debut for Mankind.
Yes.
So my first memory of Mick Foley is in WCW. I was watching back then. I remember him attacking Sting and them guys going back and forth. And then all of a sudden, I think it was like right after this feud, my man had a concussion. And then he had amnesia, and he didn't remember his family or nothing like that. That was my memory of him. He was all dirty in the alleyway and all that stuff like that, hanging out in the streets with some winos and probably George the Rat out there, but he was out there. That was my first memory of Mick Foley.
You know how my mom pronounces amnesia?
How does Mama Huang do it?
Amnesia.
Amnesia. I like that.
That's phonetically strong.
New
London strong.
There you go. Oh, man. So, seeing Mick Foley at this time, he was a complete different wrestler. Knowing his story, he wanted to be Shawn Michaels. He wanted to be, that heartbreak kid. So, he had that persona of dude love. But he's completely different. Instead of him taking bumps inside the ring, he'd rather do something crazy and take that same bump outside the ring, like a back body drop or, do the running elbow. That's why this man is probably, walking the way he is now because of all the damage that he's done to his body throughout his career. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I would definitely agree with you on that. I mean, the guy was already 300 plus pounds doing moves like that. They're already dangerous as it is. There's no giveaway when you do bumps like that on the outside, and then the padding. When you listen to our talk with Barry Horowitz and future podcasts, you'll hear that this thin of padding it doesn't do good for you. The bump itself is dangerous. Some of it maybe was unnecessary, but I know it was completely different. It caught your eye because I would look at his old work later on in my life because I wasn't watching at this time. I wouldn't recommend anybody doing it. I know there's still guys in other companies that are trying stuff like that, but not for me. No way.
Nope.
John?
All right.
What was the question?
Wasn't really
Your early memories.
Yeah, your early memories of Mick Foley.
There wasn't one. That's why there's nothing going on. But no, I mean, I never think of Mankind. Just think about calling it his rookie year. Just call it his rookie year. Mankind, Mick Foley would have such a large career in the history of the WWF that no one ever considers to think that, man, he had one big-ass rookie year, man. He challenged for the WWF Championship within his first year. Suck it, Kurt Angle. He didn't win one. He didn't win a title in his first year, but at least he headlined a pay-per-view when that actually mattered back then, and also becoming one of Shawn Michaels' favorite matches. Maybe not opponent, but maybe one of his favorite matches of his career, for sure. And, of course, a bunch of legendary matchups with The Undertaker, drawing money all across the United States of America, all the way from that first appearance at Monday Night Raw to SummerSlam at the Gund Arena to the Survivor Series when Undertaker would break out a motley crew of outfits to, I think they'd square off at the Royal Rumble match, I think. And they would continue their feud for 2 more years. Impressions of Mankind. I said his debut night was a big one, and he had one hell of a rookie year. So, great debut for Mankind.
All right, Strap. So, what is your favorite version of Mick Foley?
It'd probably be. Mankind has so many versions. Version 1, 2, 3. I like Corporate Kind. Actually, Corporate Kind after he stopped trying to suck up. Just his look. With the dirty shirt. The image you just showed. him teaming with The Rock and Sock connection. Basically, when Mick Foley was immobile, that's when I liked him best because he didn't have to move much and I didn't have to see him much. That was my favorite version of Mick Foley.
What about you, Platino?
I gotta agree with that in some level, but I gotta go with the first time I seen Mankind. That was completely different, a character that caught my eye. I mean, someone that had the feud with Taker that go that long, I don't think anybody was matching Taker at that level, especially at this point in his career. I think Taker was like, what, 5th or 6th year in with the WWE, and most of the time he would go in there, he'd just destroy everybody. He had a fear on him that people just like got in the ring with him and they didn't want nothing to do with that. But with Mick, he matched him pretty much with the same mind games, and he had a little help from Uncle Foley. So you got Mick Foley and you got Paul Bear with you. You're not gonna fail with that. I mean, he's probably one of the top 3-4 managers at that time. Like John said, that feud alone was like 6, almost like 9 months. That's incredible. He had a hell of a rookie year. I totally agree with you on that.
What kind of mind F is it for a long-time viewer? Like I said, I got into the wrestling, late 95, so I only know so much of a certain period of time. And how crazy it is that basically all the WCW stars from, say, around 91 to 94 are all now the up-and-coming stars in the WWF, and vice versa. All the WWF guys were in WCW. And to see Mankind, Mick Foley, teaming with the guy who ripped his ear off, Big Van Vader, as a challenge for the World Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania 13. What kind of mind F is that? They're teaming together. They're friends, man. What's up with that? But hey, vicious enemies and opponents can become great friends later on. So kind of like in New Japan Pro Wrestling, the world's in a different form, the world's greatest team up, Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi. But
wasn't that the In Your House pay-per-view? Good friends, better enemies.
What?
The name. In
Good
Your
friends.
House.
When he
Good
tagged
friends,
with,
better
Vader.
enemies.
That's Shawn Michaels and Diesel. I remember it distinctly. Shawn Michaels was one of those memorable promos because I watched Monday Night Raw back 4 times in that era because it was only 1 hour long, and I was a kid who loved wrestling. Big Daddy Cool. We make good friends, but we make better enemies. And in your house, blah, 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 from the Heartbreak Kid. But we're not here talking about Heartbreak. We're here talking about Dude Love, Mankind, Mick Foley, and all his incarnations. Yeah. What's the next query,
All right,
Dom?
So my favorite version of Mick Foley is Cactus Jack. I remember seeing Cactus Jack in WCW days, and man, this guy, he was just hardcore. He was literally a crash test dummy. He put his body through the line, and he didn't give a fuck about anything. And I enjoyed that at this time. I enjoyed the chair shots. I enjoyed the diving up. I love still to this day how he did the damn pile driver. I don't know. It's like all in one motion, like how he like pull you from your drawers and just spike you down. Like that shit was just dope.
Kind of like Super Mario Brothers 2 in the desert.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
I know what you're saying, but yeah, I just enjoyed Cactus Jack. He was one of my favorite characters. I wasn't a big fan of the Mankind gimmick in the beginning because it was just weird, and they were just trying to find anybody to fight the Undertaker at that time. But after a while, after the whole Rock and Sock connection thing, that's when I became, interested in Mankind. I was never a fan of Dude Love, never. But that's just my opinion.
Dude Love not inspired by the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels because I believe he was 6 at the time that Mick Foley came up with that character. But nonetheless, that was one. You want to, sometimes I've heard complaints from people about they hate modern wrestling. Fine, hate it. I don't care. Do what you want. But if you want to go back in a period of time, watch the WWF in 1997, start to finish. Go ahead. You're going to freaking love it. And one of the hottest things that summer was something Dom just showed right there. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin, one half of the World Tag Team Champions, with an abandoned tag team championship partner, Shawn Michaels, because he got suspended for pulling Bret Hart's hair in a Hartford Civic Center locker room in early June. But he was searching for a tag team partner, and who would it be? You know, Mankind was itching to be that guy, and wrong era. But you know, I think it was a pre-taped draw also. But you know, Stone Cold's in the ring battling Bret Hart, he was battling Owen Hart and the British Bulldog for the titles, and out comes Dude Love out of nowhere. Tag me in, Steve, and they win the titles or retain the titles.
Hey, baby, Stevie, I'm here for you.
It made no sense to me at the time, but I loved it. I just loved it so much. A hot, wet American summer for the World Wrestling Federation at that time.
You know what? He's not one of my favorite characters that he did, but I gotta agree with you, John. Something about that character was different. He was trying to be the babyface that Shawn Michaels was supposedly supposed to be, even though he was a heel and a dickhead. Yeah. But he was supposed to be like a ladies' man, and it was like akin to the 70s where he's like, I don't know how to say it, just like one of those hippies that can just pull you in with his swag.
Definitely a 70s gimmick. Austin Powers come to life in that physical form.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Ain't gonna lie, I did like some sweet shin music. I used to like it. What was it? No Mercy or something like that? No Mercy at WrestleMania 2000?
Yeah.
Sweet shin music. That was the joint right there.
Just tuning up the
the
recorder.
Was it in Warzone? God, there were so many different games back then.
I don't know. I don't remember, but it was a good time.
War, Attitude. Man, the list could go on.
But if you ever want to see Stone Cold break character, he even said it on the Mick Foley A&E documentary. He said, yeah, when he was Dude Love, he tried to pop me every week, but he finally popped me when him and Vince are on top of the stage doing the dance with the knees. He said he had to put his head down like this. He was like, yeah, that got me. That's from Stone Cold Steve Austin right there.
That's right.
Oh, man.
All right, so Foley, he was rising up after this whole Taker feud, but June of 1998, King of the Ring, he had a Hell in a Cell match. Guys, this shit could have killed Mick Foley right here, but he had a match against the dead man, the Undertaker. He starts out on the top of the cell. And John, you want to break it down? You want to tell the fans what happened if you guys don't know what happened?
Man, you couldn't even tell what happened in the match because no one remembers the damn match. What? What happened to the damn match? Everybody remembers the big spot. No one, and kind of like,
yeah, which one?
Kind of like a car crash, and you have live witnesses. Everyone's got a different memory of something. Everyone saw something different. You know, was Terry Funk there? Was he? Yes, he was.
Yes,
maybe.
He
was Sergeant Slaughter there? Sure, he was.
Yes, he was.
Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. That weird guy that cracked their necks and bones backstage. That French guy. He was there.
Pierre, something like that.
Pierre de la Pue. But I mean, you can't even call it a legendary match. It's just one of the most legendary moments in pro wrestling history. And you could argue it was for the better, for the worse. But The Undertaker and Mankind battling it out in a Hell in a Cell. They make their way to the top of the cage. And a couple of things happened. What order did they happen in? I believe the first order of business was Undertaker just casually throwing Mankind off the side into the Spanish announce table.
I think Taker said in one interview he didn't want to even do that.
I bet.
Yeah, he said he didn't want to do it.
And Mick was like, yeah, you go tell it to his face. And Mick was like, no, just throw me off. And you could see his eyes like, Mick, are you fucking stupid?
And, you know, there's a whole there's a whole thing about it. I mean, well, there's nothing to describe, but all the trainers, EMTs, referees down to ringside checking out Mankind, but that mother effer comes back, and he goes, and him and Undertaker. I don't think he ever left. He was just up there the whole time. Mankind climbs back up there after that devastating fall. That's been a clip of WWF programming forever, then, now, and forever. Homeboy gets choke slammed through the middle of the top of the Hell in the Cell, lands in the ring. I believe that was the worst bump than the first bump.
And that's another bump that Mick says if he had gone up like he normally would have, he probably would have over-rotated, landed on his neck, and that would have just been disaster right there.
A lot of bad things happened.
You forgot to say after he got thrown off the cell that he got stretchered. And next thing you know, as he was getting, going towards back to the entrance, he got up, and then, he's kind of like half smile, and his tooth is just, one of them numbers. And he climbs up to the cell, and then, that's when
I think he did that, he's smiling. I think that was after he got choke slammed. But
yeah,
I could
that
be
was
wrong
after
on that.
he went through the cell.
Yeah,
I know. I seen him in one of the comedy clubs, and he said he was concussed, and then when he regained consciousness, he looked over. Why is there a pair of shoes in the ring? Undertaker chokeslam Terry Funk, literally out his shoes.
Yep, that was part of it too.
Yep.
And then the motherfucker kept on wrestling because wasn't there thumbtacks involved? And he got chokeslam on the thumbtacks?
I don't think that was that night. At least I don't remember.
So many things.
Yeah, there was so much stuff going on. I think when he got pinned too, he still tried to get his leg kick in there. I'm just like, everyone's like, Jesus Christ, dude, you just went through hell and back, and you're still moving? How?
And the crazy thing is, that wasn't even the main event of the show, because the main event was Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kane, and I believe in the First Blood match, and he came back out in that match to interfere.
That would never
and Undertaker
happen
came back
in this era. That would never happen. He'd be taken out the show right away. Just protocols just wouldn't allow it. But man, for that time, Mick, I think they said, Vince even said, you might have just saved this company. Because they were still going through some shit, I think, financially, but...
It was the Monday Night Wars, man.
That's
Everything's
crazy.
fair game.
That was crazy.
They need to have the more spectacular show. They didn't have the Worm, Dennis Rodman. They didn't have the Mailman, Karl Malone. They didn't have Mean Kevin Green. They didn't have none of those guys. They only had wrestlers and Mike Tyson for one night. So... And, I mean, think about it. I mean, at that period of time, June 1998, they had lost to WCW for, 83 weeks? And when did they turn the tide? Just that April. So they've only been on a streak of beating WCW or finally ending the 83-week streak just 3 months earlier. They're still... the underdog. The World Wrestling Federation is still the underdog at that point. They're still trying to claw their way back to the top, even with the up and rising and world champion Stone Cold Steve Austin, even with the newest, hottest faction at the time, T-Generation X, with the New Age Outlaws and X-Pac. They were still fighting their way, man. So it wasn't a sure thing that the WWF was king. Not yet. So they still had something to prove. And... Mick Foley still had a chip on his shoulder. That's why these guys became WWF legends, because of WCW giving them a chip on the shoulder. Stone Cold, Mankind, at least those two anyway.
Jean Paul Levesque.
The Rock never had a chip on his shoulder, except the blue chip. That is blue corn tortilla. But we're not here talking about The Rock just yet. We're talking about Mankind in the Hell in a Cell match. So it was just one of the more defining moments of Mick Foley's career, and there could be a lot of regrets, but you can't deny that it made him into the legend that he is today.
Not only made him, it just made all WWE. there was no way you wasn't gonna stop. You were gonna stop watching WWE for that period of time. Everyone's like, what's gonna happen next? That was incredibly crazy. There's no way they can stop that. And every week they figured it out. And guess who was part of that center? It was Stone Cold, it was Rock, and it was Mankind. Mankind was basically the center right there. He was the sun, and everything around him, boom. I would say he's the catalyst for what the Attitude Era would become at that time.
He's definitely one of the main focal points for sure.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, let's take it
what you
to January 4th, 1999. We talked about it earlier this year. We did our head-to-head show between Monday Night Raw and WCW Monday Night Nitro, the Finger Poke of Doom, and Mick Foley won the title. Oh, that put butts in the seats. It damn right it did. Mick Foley won the title. We had the loudest ovation of all time when that glass shattered and Stone Cold swung that chair like Barry Bonds on The Rock's head. But we talked about the whole rivalry. John broke down every single championship winner in the WWF in 1999, because I know we talked about Royal Rumble 99. We talked about this show right here. We talked about
We only had one hiccup because who knows how many times the title changed hands in the month of February.
what
99.
show was it? What show was it when the Rock was bashing this man's head in the I Quit match?
Let's try it again. So January 4th. So The Rock comes into 1999 as the WWF champion, loses it to Mankind in Worcester, Massachusetts. Mankind holds it till the Royal Rumble where he quits. He quits. The Rock loses it to Mankind at halftime heat. And I think he loses it the night after a pay-per-view of not No Way Out, or was it No Way Out? I'm not sure. The night after No Way Out, I think he loses it on Monday Night Raw back to The Rock. The Rock then loses it to Stone Cold, and Stone Cold 1999 he drops it to Mankind at SummerSlam, who loses it to Triple H the very next night on Raw, who loses it to Vince McMahon. It's up in the six-pack challenge, and I think Triple H won that, I think. And then he loses it to the Big Show at the Survivor Series. And the Big Show walks into the year 2000 as WWF champion. Anyways, that was so long-winded it blew out the graphics on Abel's webcam. But that's okay. Who knows? It doesn't.
Oh,
Oh, man. Need to drink,
That was
swig a drink for the working man.
For real. That was
yep.
funny.
But yeah, 1999 would be the last. Well, it would lead into the last year of Mankind's active career as a full-time pro wrestler, and it's unfortunate that everything he's done up to that point. I mean, it got him big fame, and that's all he ever wanted, you know. But he just can't play with the boys anymore, where the big boys play. He can't do it anymore because he's so injured and so hurt from things like, you know, the bang bang elbow onto the ringside cement, you know, doing things like the Hell in the Cell and the I Quit match with The Rock, and yeah, he was out here and there, but he would come back, and like I said, they'd put him back into a brief program. So like I said, he won the title at SummerSlam because Jesse the Body Ventura, Governor Jesse the Body Ventura, need to raise the hand of a babyface. Why? And a lot of politics being played at that time, but Stone Cold didn't want to lose to Triple H in that manner, so he'll lose it to Mankind. You know, it doesn't make any sense, but that's okay.
All right, guys.
Hey.
What is your favorite Mick Foley, Mankind, Do Love, Cactus Jack rivalry?
So many. Rivalry.
Ooh.
Like for me,
I'll let John start that off.
I'll let Dom
Or
start
you
that
know
off.
what, you start off.
yeah,
Dom was ready, so let him start it
Yeah,
off.
I was ready. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, I like that rivalry he had with Triple H. I like how it played out, how he was Mankind and he ripped the the Mankind shirt off, and he dove off the top of the cage. I believe he still lost that match, right? Was that in the Garden?
Yep.
Where Mankind
Yeah,
Dude
then
Love,
he start.
and
Yeah,
there's
they
nothing
start,
painted there.
Yeah, and they start tapping the feet.
Well,
He heard the music afterwards, after the match.
I don't know. I just know that at SummerSlam '97,
I think that's what it was.
Mankind was Mankind, and then he goes to like the top rope or something, or the top of the cage, and he opens his shirt. It's supposed to be a Dude Love tattoo, but he sweat through it, so there's nothing there.
Yeah, so you just him
It's like, ah!
showing his bosoms. that's basically it.
Yeah,
Dropped
They
it,
should've
yeah,
just
and then
started
you
off the
know,
match with it basically.
yeah. So they had a match there, and then they had matches when Triple H was the Game, the Cerebral Assassin, the WWF Champion at the Royal Rumble and No Way Out in Hartford.
I liked how you seen the evolution of Mankind to do Love, and they said, "Oh, we got somebody that can take you, somebody who's like basically crazier than both of us." When they showed all three of them on the screen together, and that's how you seen Cactus Jack. That's like one of my favorite moments right there. And then you see you see Triple H.
Hey, that was the same night Stone Cold stunned Vince for the first time in Madison Square Garden.
Really?
Yeah, Cactus Jack is back.
Wow, we should recap that show.
No votes.
No. Just do it.
It's a good show.
Favorite Mick Foley feud? Him and Val Venus, No Mercy, 1999.
They had a feud.
You know, it's hard. All right, good night, everybody.
Hello, Foley.
Man, let me get back on track here for a moment. It's hard for me to pick one that I've seen because I don't know. I just can't pick one from his time in the WWF. But if you say, hey, go back in time and pick a feud to watch over, I'd choose Cactus Jack and Sting. That's something I'd like to see. They had lots of matches in WCW, and it was a match they had at I believe Lockdown in TNA in 2009 for the championship. A topic that Mick Foley would even use as the basis for a new book he had called Countdown to Lockdown. So if there's a few to revisit, I would choose Cactus Jack and the icon Sting.
Did he win that? Did he win against Sting in Lockdown?
Hey, I didn't finish the book yet.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he won the title. So. He was the TNA champion. So where it went after that, I think he lost it in a reverse or regular King of the Mountain match made famous by good old Double J Jeff Jarrett. J, E. Anyways, Abel, what do you have for a favorite Mick Foley feud?
Feud, right? I was normally gonna say Taker versus Mankind, and he first started, but I kind of go with you, like go back and revisit something from old school that I didn't really watch. Was him versus Vader. Vader back then was the man. He's very undervalued, and if people don't really realize the athleticism on that guy, it's crazy. And for Mick to hold his own with him, especially with certain guys saying that Vader would take liberties with certain people, but Mick wasn't gonna deal with that shit. I kind of want to go back and see what went on, especially seeing. I know what happened with the ear. It's crazy. I don't want to see that, but just what led up to that, and then how did he hold his own? I think there's been times where Tony Schiavone has reviewed Mick versus Vader, but I want to see from my personal experience to see what was really going on. So I'd go with Cactus versus Vader.
You know, Abel, what's really interesting is that at the start of the show, I put on in the background on Peacock For All Mankind, Life and Career of Mick Foley. And as you're talking about Vader and Cactus Jack and the whole ear incident, they're covering it right now at 39 minutes and 58 seconds. So this is meant to be.
Boy. Just like that Just Incredible podcast.
time.
It was meant to be.
That's now available on all platforms. Check it out.
Yes.
Hey, John, I saw someone cutting a
What-
promo on you. Was he really pissed at you? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Watch the show. Watch the damn show.
Watch him break. Oh. They just showed Cactus's cut off ear on the TV. Yeah.
Ooh.
God.
Any other
All right,
questions you got
fellas,
for
let's
us,
talk-
Don?
Let's
Have
talk
you
about
ever
some
done-
dream matches
Dream man.
involving Mick Foley. Who would you like to see him fight, past or present? We're starting
Well-
Platino.
Platino.
I think it's obvious everybody wanted to see it was Mankind or Cactus versus Abyss in a Monsters Ball match. That dude was like a combination of Kane and Mick at the same time. I'm talking about Abyss. And to see a certain guy with the way he moved, and the way he carried himself in the ring, it's the perfect mesh with those two guys having a Monsters Ball match. He's hardcore, he's completely insane, but man, what would you have gotten out of that? It would have been crazy, but it would have been something worth watching.
That's a
What do you
good
think,
one.
John?
When you have a guy like Mankind who spent most of his career as a brawler, a top tier brawler, would you want to see him face off against another brawler? Or would you like to see him try his hand at technical wrestling? We saw what happened there. Mankind brought his style to the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Okay. Even though it was past his prime, Mick Foley brought his style to the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Enough of letting Mick Foley call the match, man. Let someone else call the damn match. So it feels like people just want to do the hardcore style when they're around Mick Foley, or maybe that's the only style he can do well. But this was actually something that was in the works, allegedly, and it didn't come to fruition, and it's the only thing I can think of right now. Man, Cactus Jack and John Moxley. Two guys that will go at no lengths, no limits to beat the holy hell out of each other. So that would probably be John Moxley of any time right now versus the Cactus Jack of 1994, 95. That would probably be one hell of a matchup.
I agree.
Ooh, that's a real good one. I'm thinking about, excuse me, some mind games and a good promo. So I would take Mankind, that sadistic,
And I know where you're going.
playing with George the Rat. Where am I going, Abel?
You going with Bray Wyatt?
No. John would be surprised.
I thought
John
about
be
that just
surprised. John
Maybe
be
you better
surprised who I would choose, or who I'm going to choose.
Alexa
So-
Bliss?
Yeah, Alexa Bliss. But no, I would take that sadistic Mankind that's sitting in the boiler room in the dark and playing with George the Rat, and I would take Darby Allin.
Darby Allin. Oh, that'd be a real fun
Darby.
one.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah,
real
that would be
interesting to
really
see.
good.
Just the promos,
Yeah.
the vignettes, and then once they tangle up, it would be something epic.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah, I
though.
mean, yeah, the way Darby's promos are starting to turn into, man, that is actually a really good one, man. I wouldn't have said it when he first started, but ooh, the notorious
funny.
one strikes again.
Darby is so beat up, and he is a good. He did go to film school. One hell of a cinematic match because Mick Foley can't wrestle again. He tried a comeback, he did not succeed, and Darby Allin perpetually hurt all the time. They could do a cinematic match, and that would be totally acceptable for all parties involved. So Darby Allin, make it happen.
Yes.
Foley's still trying to wrestle. He's trying to wrestle for his 60th birthday. I guess he got some setback right now.
I know a good opponent for him. Anyways,
There you go.
if you're over, you're over,
man.
brother.
But you know what? That Bray Wyatt match would have been good, but they had their little interaction together. Because don't forget, that's how Bray had the mandible claw.
Yeah, that's
Basically,
one
the
of those.
passing of the torch.
Yep.
He absorbed it from it.
Basically.
Oh,
All right.
boy.
That's how it
Would you-
should work, you know.
That's
It
true.
should.
Though.
Like,
Bray took away from Taker and he took away from Mankind, so you can't go wrong with that.
so people need to stop taking the three amigos and at least get to the third one, or just stop trying, please.
Yes.
I don't like that. I mean, I understand it in a way, because it's like, hey, why doesn't anyone pin anyone with the perfect plex? Well, Mr. Perfect, he's the only one that could do it. It's like, yeah, you just ruin his memory every time you see someone kick out of it. It's like, can't he just pin someone with it now? You know? Or I dare someone to copy the Rude Awakening. It's just a neck breaker. Oh, okay. Jay Briscoe tried to bring that back, but
It's all on the hips.
and,
Hips don't lie.
so they need to protect finishers in all companies.
All right. Would you guys say that
That'd be the greatest thing ever.
Yes.
Yeah, he kick out of that shit.
Shut.
All right. Would you guys say that Mick Foley is the greatest hardcore legend of all time?
Well, he's not the coolest.
He's
Not just the best.
best.
I mean, that's a very targeted denomination, Dominique. Is he the best wrestler of his style of wrestling? As you show this with the Terry, I'm not retired funk. You know, my friend Dave Meltzer names certain awards after people, and only Bryan Danielson can win his own award named after himself. Who won the 2019 Bryan Danielson Technical Wrestler Award? Bryan Danielson. I don't know if I'm not sure if someone else won the Best Brawler Award, because I think for the longest time it was the Bruiser Brody Best Brawler Award. Could have been Mick Foley. I don't know, but would you consider Mick Foley the best brawler? Like, well, who else is in his category? I mean, without going to you said hardcore, so
Yeah, hardcore.
yeah, who else is in his league? Let's hear some nominees. Got any nominees?
Terry Funk.
God
Okay.
damn it, Dom.
Sabu.
Okay,
Abyss.
Sandman.
I'd say
Abyss.
Sabu for most innovative, perhaps.
Yes. I'd say he's more of a high flyer, though.
High flying.
Hardcore Holly. Got the name Hardcore.
Yeah.
Sure. I rented a movie.
I gotta put Abyss in it because that dude is known for his hardcore matches, especially in TNA, especially the Monsters Ball match, which is something completely out the norm that WWE probably would never thought of.
You know, how about if you just came out with, you don't want to just bring it down to just the hardcore title in its infancy, because that's what I'm about to do. It's like, who are the best hardcore champions, hardcore WWF wrestlers? You know, you could put Mankind, you could put Al Snow, Hardcore Holly, Road Dogg, Big Boss Man, Crash Holly,
Yep.
Steve Blackman, the Lethal Weapon. Man, you can put RVD and Jeff Hardy in there too if you want.
Yep.
But even amongst all those great names, Mick Foley is just a standout. I mean, whether he actually is the best hardcore brawler icon wrestler there is, was, or ever will be, he is the most famous one, and probably that matters most.
And he's your first hardcore champion.
That is true.
Inaugural hardcore champion.
He's
way-
a one-time hardcore champion. That's the crazy thing.
The way Vince McMahon sold it to him, I've got you a special belt. It's the hardcore championship. Oh, Vince, is that shit on your head?
Never a dull moment with that guy on TV. Oh,
Mick Foley, the hardcore legend. He is
Mick Fold 5.
Mick Foley, the hardcore legend, is a Hall of Famer. He definitely deserved every accolade that he achieved. He is a 3-time WWF champion. He's a 1-time hardcore champion. He's an 8-time tag team champion.
Oh,
1 with
huge.
Stone Cold, 2 with Kane, 3 with The Rock, and 1 with Al Snow. And he is in the Hall of Fame of 2013. He's a 1-time tag team champion in WCW with Kevin Sullivan. He's a TNA Legends champion and 1-time TNA World Heavyweight champion. That's a hell of a career right there. And Mick Foley definitely deserved it.
Definitely Hall of Famer in any book you put him in.
John, you read his book?
I have not read any of his books. I do own 2 of them, but I haven't read any of his books. But you don't need my opinion on it. They are very well regarded, and they kicked off the wrestling fans can read. And guess what? They also have money to spend, you dumb fools. We will buy anything with wrestling on it. Please give it to me. And we'll buy it. Speaking of buying superfluous things, we have a pro wrestling crate.
Perfect setup right there.
No, highlight
Yes, we
me.
do.
Abel has blurry box.
What is this, Japanese porn? Anyway. What's up with that blurry box?
What's up with your camera?
Hey,
Clean your
that's,
lens.
That's the old one. Shut up.
Shut up and listen, Brooke.
All right, guys. The bi-monthly Pro Wrestling Crate comes with 2
Everything-
t-shirts. The one I got 2 t-shirts. I got 2 brawlers, a pin, an autograph, some socks. I got a flag, and I also have a poster. All right.
All right.
So the first one we got the tag team, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. My micro brawlers are Ricky and Robert.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like Tetsuya Naito.
So I got the Midnight Express, not the Midnights, the
Rock and roll.
Rock and Rolls.
Express.
Shut up.
What day is today? Today's Thursday. It doesn't matter what day
Yeah.
today is.
Also got a Young Bucks pin.
Ooh. EVP.
Don't call them Matt or Nick. Nicholas and Matthew.
What are you doing with all your pins?
I got them in a box.
He's going to need to tie up the diapers.
I'm gonna.
Just like he's, from the pioneer days.
Speaking of diapers, I can guarantee that these socks are gonna be smelly. They're gonna be stinky. And just
don't
like
show 'em.
the fucking diapers that I'm gonna be cleaning, they're gonna be nasty. Nasty boy socks.
Oh, my God.
Where's Sags?
Scratch and sniff.
That is Sags.
Thought it was Knobs.
Oh, that is Knobs. Sags in the back.
It's hanging down below.
Alright, let's see what we got for a flag.
Can't call him that.
Jerk.
Hope it's ODB in their food truck.
Bam!
I got a Hardee's flag.
Oh, does it smell like alcohol?
That's dope.
That is
dope.
cool.
Just hang it on the window. It'll keep the heat out.
I got the other one already doing that.
Velvet Sky.
Ooh.
Who's
I
that,
got a
Ethan
chop.
Page?
I got a Chavo. I got a Chavo and Eddie poster.
All jacked up to the gills.
That's what's up.
And let's see what do we got.
It looks like a hood of a car.
And I've got the formerly best friends, Trent and Chucky T.
Clearance sale.
Oh boy.
You should cut it in half.
Oof.
Yeah.
Do it in a zigzag pattern.
Imagine that. Alright, Let's see what we got for T-shirts for the closer.
Starring Kira Sedgwick as the closer.
Ooh, so I have a forever double-sided Bret Hart. No, not Bret Hart. Hart Foundation T-shirt.
Double-sided for 2 times the pleasure. Is that the front?
That must be the front.
That's the front.
Ah, they
And
always
that's
do
the
that
back.
shit. There's the back, baby.
Dope. I see Natalia about to be a free agent in 2 weeks. Her contract about to expire.
And there is no compete.
Yeah, if it expires.
I don't think she's signing. She's going to be a coach. And I got the best in the universe. Oh, I already got this T-shirt.
What? How can you have a duplicate?
Let me see.
I got an FTR Living Legends.
I'll take that.
I got something similar to that.
Thank you.
Looks like a record
Not
album.
getting that.
If you have the same thing, I'll take it.
It's not the same. I remember the other one's got stars on it.
You about to have stars. In a
I
minute.
So
never
Don Williams, go fuck yourself.
I've never seen that shirt before.
And that concludes our Pro Wrestling Crate of May.
All right.
There you go.
So the next one that's coming in July, we actually are speaking of him right now, features Mick Foley. That's all I got to say about
Well, that
that.
shit's always so late.
It's every 2 months now.
Shoot. They don't know what topics we talking about.
They know exactly what we're talking about. That's why they sent us the link.
They're following all year. They're coming up this month on
The It Doesn't Matter podcast.
Well, our next episode is going to be a fun one. We all selected this. We all talked about this a while ago when we first started potting together. We're going to take it back to 2005. ECW One Night Stand. Oh, yeah. I can't wait. If you guys don't know that card, it's a must-watch. Watch it ahead of time. Dante, I know he's ready because he's the one who suggested it to me. I said, we already had it on the list, buddy. But the first match of the night, Lance Storm taking on Lionheart, Chris Jericho.
El Corazón de León.
Then we have Super Crazy going against Yoshihiro Tajiri and Little Guido. Then
Fuck yourself.
we see Rey Mysterio taking on Psychosis.
Psychosis.
got him a job.
Then we see Sabu taking on Rhino.
Ugh,
Then we get a great technical match. These two SmackDown wrestlers. We get Chris Benoit taking on Eddie Guerrero. That was a good match. We got Mike Awesome taking on Masato Tanaka.
That's a throwback from back in their days when they were wrestling in ECW.
And the main events, we have them damn Dudleys, Bubba Ray and Devon taking on Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman. This was a fun show. I love this show right here. No RVD at the time because unfortunately my man was injured. But I can't wait to discuss this show next week.
I can't either.
It's all in here.
You're not going to rewatch it?
Don't have to.
You should rewatch it.
You know,
you
there are
might miss
those.
something.
There are those, maybe Dante, that have only seen it on the network or Peacock, and there are those that have seen the original. So guess which one this guy is.
I seen the original because I ordered it on pay-per-view
Yeah.
back in the day.
Good for you. Right. So that's good though. That's good. So it'll be a fun show. Worth revisiting, even if they did edit it in classic WWE style. But yes, another one of the great pro wrestling pay-per-views of all time. WWE CW One Night Stand 2005.
I believe your boy has it on
New
DVD.
Day. Randy
Dividend. I think
Randy
I have
has
it on
everything
DVD.
on DVD, including Brazilian Butt Lifts 5.
Pornhub. Oh Lord.
Oh, never a dull moment with you guys.
Yes. So next week, can't wait. It's gonna be a extreme show.
Yes.
Might just say it might just be an incredible show.
You never know. You never know.
You never know.
Glad the computer cut that
With
out.
that being said, with that being said, guys, we're getting our cue from the guys in the back. I am here with Strap Facts John, Cactus John today. We are with the notorious one, Dom Bang Bang Gang, and I am Bobby Platano. This is the It Doesn't Matter podcast, and we will see you next week.
Boom.